I am a single mother who ended things with the father of my child because of his abusive behavior. He would yell at me for things that weren't my fault and couldn't control his temper at all, especially when he was drunk. To this day, I wonder, why did I stay with him after all this time? But I think it was because of my daughter, Minnie. It's funny to think that she surprised both me and my ex almost a year ago, but every time I look at her little smile, I'm thankful for not putting her up for adoption. Although, if she could return the favor by letting me get some good sleep, I'd love her even more. So I work at an office as the office manager with a bunch of fun coworkers and a cool boss, Mr. Cooper. We basically tried to sell people life insurance over the phone for reasonable prices. Since my ex and I broke up, I've been looking at some male coworkers as boyfriend material. I love Minnie, but mommy needs someone outside of friends and family to love her too. So there is this coworker, Jerry, who is handsome and is number 3 on my list, and he's persistent since he found out that I'm single. I loved him giving me attention since I can't go out anymore. He would tell me corny jokes that I pretend were funny and touch his arm to feel his muscles, which he would jokingly flex. After a few months of talking, I finally agreed to go on a date with Jerry. I asked one of my friends, Hannah, to watch Minnie as I went with Jerry to a fancy restaurant. We talked the entire time we were there, and afterwards we walked in the park to continue the conversation. It was the first in a long time where I felt desired by someone who seemed stable. He ended the night with a kiss and whispered in my ear that we should do this again. We went on a few more dates before I decided to introduce him to Minnie, and he was great with her. I loved the fact that she liked him as well. I'd never see her laugh so hard at anyone besides me before. We later went to the park and watched her first few steps. It felt like we were a family. However, after that I noticed that Jerry was slowly revealing himself to be intense. He showed it when he was having a bad day because our boss wouldn't give him a raise. He punched a wall when I tried to calm him down. I recognized that behavior from Minnie's father, and I waited till I was at my house to text him that we needed a break, which he understood. It was a week after that text, and there were some new people that the company hired. One of them, Matthew, would always come to me for answers about what to do on the clock. I knew that he was serious and professional when he approached my desk, but Jerry didn't realize that, and I saw his jealousy even though he denied it. I was worried for my safety and was thinking of ending things with him for good. After the day was over, I drove home listening to some relaxing music. When I parked my car and went inside of my house, I thanked and paid the babysitter who told me that Minnie was great and went to sleep a few minutes before. After the sitter left, I went into Minnie's room to see her before I made some food for myself. What I saw when I turned on the light stuck with me after all this time. Jerry was holding Minnie, who was still fast asleep. I was quietly trying to convince him to give her back to me. He whispered to me to break things off with Matt, otherwise my daughter will be living with her father. I agreed to whatever he said to get Minnie back in my arms. After I got her back, I watched Jerry leave through the front door with a satisfied look on his face. I quickly grabbed some of our things and headed to Hannah's house and told her what had happened with Jerry. She watched Minnie as I called the police to press charges against him. They found him and arrested him at his house. I took a restraining order against him even though he is serving a 5-year prison sentence for breaking into my home. I'm currently looking for a new place for Minnie and I so that we can feel safe again.